अभी के हालात को देखते हुए देश में ये लॉकडाउन 21 दिन का होगा।
But I'm saying there should have been more preparation from the administration side, especially when we already experienced some similar panic before the Janta Curfew Day, even though it was announced in advance.
But how do you prepare for 1.5 billion population plus another 500 million who are hiding? But right now, what I'm getting from China is that Amazon was open.
Yeah.
Amazon was even worse than Flipkart. At least Flipkart was open and saying tell you that we are shut for 21 days. Amazon says, oh, don't worry, we will deliver you everything. The moment I hit delivery, it says it will be there by 14th of April, which is apparently the last day of curfew. I was like, will you be pouring rice on my dead body? What is the point of this thing? Narendra Modi said at 8 p.m. that go home, stay home. This was the greatest practical joke played on those people who are completely homeless. They're like, where's the fucking home? I can't even imagine the pain people are going through because they don't have food on the table and nobody gives a crap.
Altri bambini da qualche giorno non riescono a mangiare sto pezzo di pane. Stia tranquillo che lei non se ne sta a casa senza rimorso perché faceva la rivoluzione.
So what they did was aggressive testing instead of aggressive shutdown. So aggressive testing they see works much better than aggressive shutdown.
They have already gone through the SARS epidemic. They already have experience of such a similar epidemic. Those countries, South Korea and Singapore, they were able to mitigate it more efficiently than other countries.
But right now, what I'm getting from China is that China is the boss. They really don't give a shit. They don't answer questions. Okay. So, hi Vikram. So, I want to talk about that today. If you see, US has become the first country to cross the 1 lakh mark, as they say in India, or 100,000 mark. That's one country you're familiar with, the country you've lived in multiple times for long periods. Did you see this coming? Do you think? What do you think? I want to find your take because I want to say it from the horse's mouth because you've lived there. You know, Trump got elected when you were there or just before you left or something like that, and you are familiar with the country and the culture a bit more. I have only heard about it. So just tell me your take. I mean, they were just very glib about it. They thought that it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and suddenly, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw that coming, including me.
Oh,
Yeah,
Trump didn't see that coming.
and I mean, we could get some when Trump went out and said, "Oh, we have only 15 cases and it will be zero within some days." So that time I was a bit concerned. Okay, and by that time I think apart from Italy and China, not many other countries were facing so many or having so many positive cases. But yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, it's a very strange situation there because even now there's not proper lockdown all over the country. I think in some areas, some states, they're having a proper lockdown, but not all across the country like India. Yeah, I mean, if you see, it just exploded there, right? And primarily in New
It
York,
exploded.
which
Huh.
people are estimating that half of New York is almost infected. So yeah, I mean, if you think logically, people in US, they travel a lot compared to any other country. They travel overseas a lot, and if you see, and if you talk about New York, New York is again very densely populated, like Italy. And I've been to New York, and it's just there's no space at all there. You can't even if you want to do social distancing, it is very difficult unless you are
New York is like half the cases are in New York. It's crazy. It's like almost 50,000 cases in New York itself.
Yeah.
Because why I'm specifically saying, because in California they only have less than 5,000. But you compare California, which is pretty much the same level, right, and New York. New York has almost 50,000 cases. It's crazy. Pretty much everything is happening there.
Yeah.
In New York.
Yeah, I think because again, California is comparable to New York, but if you see anyone who comes, who travels to US, or who is coming from outside, coming back to US, they'll probably be in New York, and New York is like Bombay, right? If you compare it with India, and so everything is in New York, and again, as I said, there's no. I mean, I've been to Chicago as well. Chicago is also very densely populated, but there's no comparison with New York. New York is just some another level, and obviously there was no seriousness from the authorities. So out of all the
It has
cities,
3,000.
I've been to Chicago, I've
3,000
been to New York, been to Denver. Denver is also large, but not comparable to Chicago or New York. So yeah, I mean, just coming back to New York, and there was so much disdain about this disease in US. Yeah, and there, I mean, I think it comes from that there was a lot of confidence in the. I think there was a lot of confidence in the healthcare. Probably that was the reason. I mean, I am not. I've been to US, but I'm again not really an expert in geopolitics. But I think they just they just didn't think that this will happen on a large scale, on such a large scale, and eventually when it hit them, it was already late, and I think similar kind of thing happened to UK, which is a altogether another story, where they thought that they should do a controlled. They should let the virus infect certain amount of people, and then they will and some of those people will develop immunity against it, and based on that they can eventually cure it, which I think eventually will happen. This is how all the big diseases are eventually controlled. But just knowing that there's no one is immune to this virus yet in around the world, I don't know how they took that decision of going for that herd immunity solution. So anyway, coming back to US, I think the main problem was the authorities were not so serious about it. They just thought that this will just go away like any other disease. So I think that is one of the biggest reasons. And then if you see New York, there's no way people can do social distancing, and it's and
Alright,
yeah, I mean,
fair
they were
enough.
just
Yeah.
very apprehensive in locking down because of economic reasons, and now I think they have also agreed to release a package of some. I think I don't have the figure, but
The greatest package in the history, 2
2
trillion.
trillion, yeah. And if we again, I think I just saw the video uh, of Mr. Bill Gates talking about the next epidemic, and he gave a figure of $3 trillion. In 2015, he said that if an epidemic happens now and millions of people die, the world will lose $3 trillion dollars. in wealth.
The World Bank estimates that if we have a worldwide flu epidemic, global wealth will go down by over $3 trillion. And we'd have millions and millions of deaths.
And I think this we have already crossed that limit. So we have already crossed that
We've
number.
definitely crossed it.
Yeah.
Definitely crossed it. And it's continually burning. So because right now it has not even peaked in multiple
it's
cases.
continually
So I mean, yeah, the last thing I'll say, and then I'll move on to the next question, that I just noticed statistics, very interesting as in very crazy. Till March 10th, they didn't have even 1,000 cases. And then now, in like 2.5 weeks, they have 100,000 cases. And by the way, from February 14, it was moving like 10, 12, then went on to 10, then 29, and then 18, and slowly, gradually moving. And March 4th onwards, where it started picking up a little bit from 200, then it jumped to 289, 400, and then boom, 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 and suddenly now like every day they're getting what? Gazillion cases. Yesterday they were
10,000.
18,000 cases.
18,000, sorry, yeah.
17,000, 25th, 13,000 before that. It's completely gone crazy. And now it's like, it's just hit the roof.
Yeah, and I think...
So, other thing I was talking... go on.
No, I think again that goes back to detection as well. I think a lot of people would have already got the virus, and now there's much more testing going around since people are aware that this is here. The virus is here. So I think more and more people are getting detected. So I don't see this numbers decreasing anytime soon.
Oh yeah, I understand, but you can't have these many cases. But the other thing is that, which you correct, I agree with it, is detection. But the fact is, people were not dying, right?
Yeah.
That means, but people start dying left, right, center. So they have already have 1,700 people die, but like you can't compare to Italy. But I'm saying 1,700 people dying in the last few days. That's a lot of people dying within like a week or so.
Correct.
Suddenly, in an outburst or something. So I think obviously they had it. It was dormant. It was just taking place. It was coming along, and it just suddenly just boom. And in cosmopolitan city of New York. I want to move on to the next question without spending too much more time on this thing. I was speaking with Baba, who is, people don't know, my best friend. He lives in Toronto. He's been living there for the last 4 odd years, and he has lived in the United States. He studied there for his postgrad at Purdue. So he believes that whatever's happening, whenever it finishes, because I think, to be very fair, by the time it hits 27th March, is it 27th? 28th March 2021, we would have moved on. I mean, trust me, that's my positive outlook, and I think it's reasonable to say, and let's hope that happens. We would have moved on, and he feels not exactly on that day, but moving on from there, once we had this completely unprecedented, I have misused this word a lot, abused this word unprecedented in my life, but I think it is fairly perfect to use this word right now, because this is actually unprecedented in the human history, the coronavirus, COVID-19 specifically. He feels that when all this adversity happen, something really amazing will come out. The human character will come out from this. I am very skeptical about it, because I always believed, there's an old saying which says circumstances bring out the best in you. I always felt circumstances simply show you the mirror, and either you're a wuss or you're a champion. So whatever's happening right now, it is, as it's a lot of countries, particularly first world, I think, and I don't want to blame a lot of people because they only showcase the worst. Even Australia, which is, I felt very embarrassed, people are like fighting over fucking toilet paper. It's like anybody's going to die because of fucking toilet paper, except that one person who died because toilet paper fell on him because he had so much toilet paper in his house, apparently. Were you telling me that?
I was telling you.
So, you were telling that. So, who the fuck is going to die because of lack of toilet paper? My point is, apart from the embarrassing things, a lot of people actually don't have character, including the white people. When I say white people, like I mean like Western world, which I really respect, as you know already. I don't have much respect for people like here, because I feel people are, this is just
that's not respect. That's
a very shitty country.
Yeah,
but I feel that white people, when I say white people, are just people who are born overseas. You could be Indian, you could be born overseas. People in first world countries generally are better, but a lot of it, when it just push comes to shove, when they've not seen something adversity like this, a lot of crappiness also comes out for people. You would expect better because they should be doing better. I feel, what do you feel? Do you feel overwhelmingly positive will come out of this? People will be better? I'm not just talking about vaccine, I'm talking about people's character. Or do you think people will be even more paranoid and just they'll be blame game, and instead of correcting something, course correction, fixing everything instead of just be, oh, let's sue China, as they, by the way, already sued China for $20 trillion. That's one of the conspiracy. We'll come back to this question after this one. So what do you think is, do you think more overwhelmingly positive like him, or you feel more middle ground like I am? Or give me some example, what do you think is going to come out from this?
I don't, yeah, I don't think anything will change. I don't see anything changing. I mean, people. When you were talking about respect about Western people and how they are a bit better than us generally, I was talking about the London riots, which I don't know when. I think few years back happened due to, I think, lack of jobs or jobs or something like that. I think it happened 3 years back. That time,
Okay.
that time there was so much writing on the streets. People were just and as you know, in London, police is not expected to use force or like how in India when people are going out, even if you are a medical staff, they are hitting you and then asking you why are you going out. So unlike that, in England, police is not allowed to use force on you unless there is some special
Correct. 2011, by the way.
condition. So anyway, so the point was that during those riots, they just behaved like hooligans, and this is England, which is considered, and this is London, not in England. This is London, where where it's considered that a lot of educated people and very well-mannered people are living, and that kind of situation happened. And if you, after the podcast, you can go and read about it if you don't remember. So I don't see anything changing at all. I think people will talk about it because eventually all this will be solved. When I don't see this.
At least vaccine level, they'll fix it for heaven's sake. They will not forget about, they forgot the Ebola, the MERS or the SARS. They're not going to forget this thing. You can't forget it.
No, I'm not talking about forgetting about
happen,
the disease.
right?
I'm just talking about forgetting about.
No, I'm saying that will happen, right? But do you think people will be better?
Right now,
the government will be
how
better.
we are locked down and how there is scarcity of everything and all that. So eventually, I'm just saying that I don't see anything changing in people. People will get more paranoid. That's going to happen, as you said.
That's not good. That's just terrible. That's what I feel. It's going to be more paranoid. You see a Chinese person, you start shaking. Before people they see a Muslim person, he's going to pull out a bazooka. Now you see a Chinese person, he's going to pull out a fucking corona.
Yeah, I mean, this is again. I remembered about 9/11. When 9/11 happened, there were so many cases where Sikhs were getting attacked. Sikh people, Sikh community people, they were getting attacked in US because people thought they are Arabs. So yeah, this, and I think the same happened with Chinese restaurant. People stopped going to Chinese restaurant and all that. So this, I don't see people getting better. I don't know. I mean, I know Sanket. He's a bit of a optimist, maybe. But
optimist because of me. Actually, you blame me. I give him optimism, and he only takes optimism and forgets about my pessimism, the whole thing. But he does believe that. He told me this morning, again, it's more like, talking good about myself. But he said, like, this is going to be a huge opportunity for me to actually go out and execute something I've been trying to execute for a long time. And I might be part of the government or other establishments where they might need people like me. And he feels like, and I do agree with this part, that with me personally, I think I will be even, now I just feel like, I don't know, anything can possible, right? I'm not scared of a coronavirus, but I'm just like, this is weird world, right? What is panic? It gets really panicky. People just have no food. Somebody can just walk into my house and start, eating my fucking legs. Sounds weird, but I don't know. It can get really, really bad. Who knows? Do you have any control? I'm just saying, Bikram, if there's a riot and somebody's trying to walk into your house, you can't stop them, literally. Can you stop them? You can't.
No, and and when I think you're right that if this situation stretches out for long, there will be riots. I mean, as I told you about London, that was
bad.
It's called England Riots in 2011 apparently,
2011.
not 2015. Yeah,
2011?
it's
Oh,
no
maybe, yeah. Time
it's
flies
an
fast.
2011. That's the name they use on Wikipedia.
Okay.
And only one correction I'll say, you did say London people know better, but like every city, no matter how poor
Yeah.
they are, there'll be people who are poor, the poor section. And they were like, fuck the rich people. We've had it. Because they've been the poor, poor, poor. They're like, we're gonna like go
Yeah,
after this,
I
right?
just
So
gave an example of London, which is like the creme de la creme of Western world.
people are poor and they were like chilling. Like their looting is completely different to Indian looting. These people are like, going to a store, they're trying out fucking clothes. This is how Dude, what are you doing? You're trying out clothes? Like just fucking grab and hop. Like these guys are trying. That's the one thing I read when it was happening, right?
Yeah.
So I remember that part.
I
Just
think this
it's like people were
I think this happened in either New Zealand and Australia as well, where I think I might be completely wrong about the country, but I read about some Western country where people were going
nobody does.
were going and very calmly looting stuff, because I think there is some regulation that you cannot use force on your customers or something like that, unless they are.
That
So I
yeah,
link that article if I
that
find it. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know where I was going on going with that. But I am just saying that I don't see anything changing. People will get more paranoid, and if this stretches on for long, anything can happen. As you said, people barging into houses uh, and looting you. That can be a real possibility if this thing stretches on.
Pandemic, right? That will become
Yeah.
real, and then they'll just say fucking just eat food. Okay, I'm gonna move on from here, and that was a good conversation. Quickly, we're gonna talk about a few conspiracies. Just don't not a short answer. Do you really think Russia is withholding numbers? Because right now they have like less people dead than India apparently, according to Worldometer.
Uh, I think so. Yeah, they would be because it's their it's kind of their thing where they don't want to show any weakness to the world. So I
Logically, is there any reason just to withhold that number? You can just, but four. But I do believe, I think they're not really impacted like this, the
They're
way
not,
it's
yeah, they're
impacting
not
India.
really impacted. I don't see them really getting impacted because they are also very closed kind of society, and yeah,
Yes, very close.
their
So,
government can do a lot of things which is not possible anywhere else. Yeah.
correct. So maybe they just, when it
So
happened, they didn't even tell people. They were like, stay home or whatever, or just get yourself tested. And they got it done themselves, and they were like, okay, we are fine. My point is, you were completely correct. That's their strategy. But the point is, like, just the way it happened in China, it was really bad. They would tell people, right, because it's really bad. But I think it just did not get bad, and they probably, even maybe there were 1,000 people died. They said four, whatever. But obviously, did not happen like China. So that you cannot really control because the word will come out.
hmm.
Plus, Snowden is, by the way, Edward Snowden,
Yeah.
he's Russian citizen right now, so he will tell people. Okay, next question. I also agree with you in this one. I feel it's pretty like no, it's pretty normal there. Four, maybe two. Who knows? Maybe they themselves don't know. China, do you really think there's a chance of this conspiracy being true, which is a $20 trillion lawsuit against them, that they have deliberately created this bio weapon to create terror across the world and take over everyone? Like, yes and no answers.
No.
Why no? Short answer. You think they will do it, right? They're capable
They're
to build
capable
something
of
like
doing
this
it,
through.
but even though China is such a closed society, these kind of things is not. I mean, these kind of covert operation and all those things is not possible in a globalized world like right now. Word will come out eventually. So I don't see, and there is no reason for them to do that. I mean, there are reasons, but there is no, like, they were not going to die of hunger or anything that they will do something like that. They were losing their hold somewhat, and they were having those trade wars with USA. But I don't. I mean, this is a very drastic step if China would have done. I mean, I feel that it is a very drastic step, and there was no reason for China to do that. And the other part, as I said, that in a very globalized world, I don't see these kind of things happening at all.
Okay, I kind of disagree with whatever you're saying, but I agree with the fact that they probably didn't do it. I don't agree with your reasons, but I feel like they're shady. These people are more shady than Borat. Okay. At the last
They
question,
should.
I
I
don't.
mean that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very fucking shady, man. This question is, and I have my view. When they had, was there a UN thing or whatever it was? Apparently, China refused to take any questions. They were like, according to
Yeah.
me, they didn't say
UNSC.
this, but
Yeah.
that I'm the one who asks questions, bitch. So don't ask me any fucking questions. They just showed them the hand. They're like, we're done. And people couldn't say anything. So the world was like, okay,
Yeah.
how big are
So
these people?
UNSC won't. So UNSC won't discuss COVID-19. China blocks it with help from Russia and South Africa.
Fuck Russia and South Africa. The fact is that they blocked it. That's my point. That these people are super big, man. They should have been answerable. If it was India, they would have actually pelted us. They were like, "You answered this,
Yeah,
or we're gonna
yeah,
kill you."
easily,
You're gonna
easily. That's what.
the
I
job, by
mean,
the way.
even
You know the
without.
job.
Even we don't have
Let me
any
one.
hand in this. Western media is you will see, if you see Western media, there will be articles I mean news articles on how we are mishandling and how how we are a ticking time bomb and all that. So yeah, if this had originated from here, I think it would have been end of us.
Oh, it would have been end of us. I would have taken off. Like I would have taken my sister's offer just to come there. My sister's now that I was like, I'm coming. I'm coming. In fact, my Baba's offer go to Toronto. So either way, like I would have just like I would have definitely left, packed my bags and gone. Like gone. Like two things. I don't know if you're facing the same thing or all. All I hear is coronavirus ad, the other thing or whatever notification I get, messages, other things, or I get migrate to Canada. I was like, everybody's trying to get rich. Whenever there's war or something like this happens, there's some people who always get rich.
Yeah.
If you should open up as a company, do put whatever rose water, anything. Just if people try it.
Yeah, there's always
Just
opportunity in adversity.
T-shirt also double up as mask, like your T-shirt company. Because
Yeah, actually,
you'll
I gave a
keep
yeah, I
Amazon.
actually gave an idea to Venk when we had the Janta curfew and everything, and when everyone was shutting down, I gave an idea that we should print a T-shirt where it says "Fuck China." It would sell a lot.
Oh yeah, it should. Or I love Corona, and this should be Corona based. I have you can mark on this podcast will be this feeling after this ends. Corona beer is the one who's going to benefit the most out of this thing because once all this is over, everybody will know Corona beer. I mean, now only rich people and middle class knew. Now everybody will know, and they'll set up factories here, so it'll be cheaper. Because one of the reasons people don't drink it because it's expensive, so
It's
they'll put up factories here
expensive.
just so gym, and they will outsell fucking Kingfisher and Bira and every other motherfucker, even Budweiser, which is my favorite. Please don't do that. But I think Kingfisher will be much better after all this ends, and because now everybody knows Corona. What is the next?
Yeah.
Is it Kingfisher?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
What is the next big virus? Is it Kingfisher virus? Is it Heineken virus? Is it Red Label virus, Johnny Walker virus, Chivas Regal virus, or some local Indian one like Aristocrat or Bagpiper
Old Mug
or
virus.
I don't know, old mug virus. I don't think old mug will be a virus. People love old mug.
Yeah.
So I want to end on that. And this is a fairly long part one, but I think I really enjoyed it. I think it didn't feel so long, which is our longest podcast altogether. But I think brief parts. I think in the end we were getting a bit more jolly, so I was getting worked up in the third part. I am very sensitive about whatever was happening, and I think very last part you said was I become a thing that thing can happen. Like it can get really bad. Like we can have riots, like genuine ones, and people barging into people's houses and actually killing people and stealing people's food and equipment. I won't be surprised. Right now, I'm saying this that if this gets worse, it can get really
Yeah,
worse.
yeah.
So let's be ready and be prepared. I think if we die, our podcast is gonna really take off. They're like, these guys told us. We're like Bill Gates. We're like, these guys,
After 4 years,
and
this
they're not.
someone will be watching this podcast and saying, how come people didn't see this podcast? This was so prophetic.
They'll be dead bastards.
Dead
So it's
body.
like, it's like dead bastards.
So yeah, I mean, at the
So,
end, we don't want to spook anyone. But since we were talking about all the possibilities this can happen, and this has happened before as well. It's not something new. Whenever there are riots or any situation, adverse situation, a lot of people benefit from that, and they entice people. And I mean, it's just human nature, I would say.
human nature it is.
Okay, so you want to
Okay.
talk anything else? Okay.
No, I'm
Just
good.
last thing I think I want to talk about. We talked. I mean, everyone is talking about flattening the curve. How are you flattening your
Hmm.
belly curve? Because everyone is in lockdown.
So hopefully other people are doing yoga and other things at home.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that anyway there is scarcity of food items, so I think people should really reduce their
They should.
intake and do some kind of. Even I think I told you I joined Cult before the lockdown, and they have their online classes. They have videos on their app which you can follow and do some exercises, and they have online live classes where a lot of people join in and do some exercises. So I've been doing that, and I've also reduced my food intake, and I think I just yesterday I measured my weight and I have not gained anything. So I think it is important as well, apart from taking care of corona, should take care of yourself as well, and not put on so much weight that you die of some other disease.
Correct. So take his advice and hopefully come out healthier from this instead of worse off or fatter.
Yeah,
And I think that's definitely possible.
yeah. I think on that
All right.
note,
So like we did, and enjoy and subscribe to us and stay healthy. And coronavirus will be over. The worst can happen, but I think eventually we're going to be all better off, and it will be over in the next foreseeable future, next few weeks, hopefully in few months. All
yeah,
right.
take
Take
care.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.